yeah. Carbros USA, yeah.
This is Car Bros Podcast, episode 66.
The big 66.
The big 66. Long have we dreamt of episode 66.
Back in the studio.
We made it.
And now it is back.
As you'll notice, we're no longer on little screens.
We are back in the studio. We're not sure. That just happened to work out because of some other stuff that we'll get into. But for today, at least, we're back. 66.
It feels good, I gotta say.
Special
Yeah.
66. Yeah, back in the room.
Good to see your faces.
Drinks. Yeah, I almost forgot.
It's
what
good
you
to
guys
smell you.
look like. Or odors wafting. Yeah. Do you want to talk about this? If you're audio only, there's a
giant cake on the table.
4-tiered wedding cake on the table.
Well, I got married last weekend.
On 6/6.
On 6/6, yep.
That's right.
That is just a coincidence. Or we planned it.
Yeah.
Could go with that. So congratulations
Thank you.
to
There's
John.
now a Mrs. VR handjob guy. So.
Yeah, that's right. You should stay on her insurance policy because the Car Bros one's real bad. It's bad. Okay, so we are in person and we're gonna try a sort of new format. Experimental, but this podcast, if you're watching this, it probably won't feel any different. But what we're thinking about doing, we have gotten some feedback from a number of people.
Some heavy hitters.
And just general feedback, like it doesn't take an idiot or it doesn't take a genius to know that an hour of people just talking about cars is like, that's a pretty specific special audience that's going to sit through that. And so we're going to try to compartmentalize parts of this podcast and then pull those segments out and maybe even on a different channel. We're not sure where it's going to go. We don't want to clog up the channel more than we already are, but put those segments as standalone videos somewhere else. So it's still kind of podcast format, but maybe with a tiny bit more polish and shorter, importantly, and more concise. So we're gonna see if that is helpful or not. But really, I mean, the reason to do something like that, and honestly, if anyone has ideas, go for it.
Hit us up, drop a comment.
We won't necessarily take your input, but
We'll probably look at it.
if we could get the podcast ideally to something that sort of funded us, then we could really focus on the video content. But right now, thanks to our patrons, mainly it's patrons, and we love our patrons, and we have a Patreon. You can sign up for it. Link in the description below, or Google Car Bros Patreon. But if we could get the podcast to something that actually made enough money to fund the videos, that's kind of the dream, then we'd be in a much better spot to make content more aggressively, I guess, and more regularly. And so if we can tweak the podcast format, not without changing a ton, and generate more traffic, that would be good. And so that's the motivation to do this, is to, without changing much, can we make something that more people would maybe be interested in? So be on the lookout for those videos. But this podcast, if you are one of the few who are down to sit through an hour of us talking, then you can continue to do that.
Please do.
Yeah, please do. We like our fans. Okay. So since we are in person and things kind of are going back to normal, they're like rubbing up against going back to normal with the shelter in place and countrywide quarantine. Something I was reflecting on, I suspect that video meetings will continue like heavily more than they were before this started. But like nonverbal communication in person is very important, especially in a meeting or something. You're kind of the way you speak and project yourself and whatever in posture. But
the way you intimidate.
yeah, the way that you posture yourself,
The way you
physically,
the way you enter the
The
room.
way you dominate a space.
yeah, when you enter a room and find the biggest guy and shake his hand very hard. But online, when you're doing Zoom meetings, which I'm sure we've all had some Zoom meetings
Right.
over the past few months, there's this like this form of nonverbal communication that is new to that format, and that is having a good or bad internet connection.
Yeah.
Basically, where someone will be talking and like they're trying to make a point or something. It's like everyone's watching them,
Right.
And
Yeah,
they're
So that's why in Q3,
Their face encompasses the whole screen.
Yeah.
that's why it's so important.
Yeah.
it's like it's just them and
Yeah.
and like they're cutting in and out, and they don't know they're doing it.
Right,
It's almost like having your fly down or something.
Yeah,
it's like
the other people will try to ignore it unless it
Yeah.
was like clearly something
Yeah.
really
Right.
important.
yeah.
that
The
they didn't
courtey is to say nothing.
Yeah.
The courtesy
Yeah,
is
you don't want to cut them off.
Yeah, you want to like nod, and then you suspect it was theirs, but sometimes it could just be your connection. So you're not
yeah.
sure. And so like everyone will kind of like look at everyone else's video, like you can see. It's like, is it this person or what? But I think we can all agree it's a pretty pathetic look.
Yeah.
when
Get your
you're-
internet together.
You know,
come on.
when you're like, here's what we need to do. Here's the strategy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's like, ooh, I'm finding it hard to be fired up when your shit's cutting off.
or even when just like the video of their display
Yeah.
like freezes, but the audio's still going. So like they just freeze in this like really awkward position where their eyes are
Yeah.
like half blinked.
Yeah, or they'll.
I've always
drop
thought it was
down.
kind of weird to even have video in most of those things. Like, what's the point of like needing to be able to? I need to see you.
because it's helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Eye contact, bro.
Yeah,
So
I like it more than a three-way phone call.
Oh, really?
I do like it.
Yeah.
but it's not seamless. I don't think there's any way to make it seamless because it has to be real time, and that's always going to be based on people's connection. And so it's like there's no foolproof way to do it to make it bulletproof unless you're at some dedicated network.
even then, I'll still fuck up.
Yeah, it's like there's always tech issues, but I don't know. That happened to me in a. It was like, welcome team to the new thing, and this guy's giving this like presentation trying to fire people up, and he keeps cutting out, and his video keeps dropping down to like 120p.
Yeah. Very pixelated. Yeah.
He's just this blocky mess, but he doesn't know he's messing up. So everyone's like, yeah.
Motivation.
We're listening.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. So, luckily the Carbro stuff was pretty smooth. But
We got some fat Mbps's. over
yeah,
here.
we all have decent internet connection, so that is good. Okay. I am down here partly because the Fierri is going up for sale.
That's the plan, at least.
Breaking news.
Is that breaking news? Didn't we
No,
say that?
no,
I don't
we
know.
were doing?
We probably mentioned
We
it.
covered it. That we're planning on it.
Okay,
Or at least
so-
considering it.
Yeah. So now we are past considering it to doing it, and we don't need to go into this, but among all the ways that car is awful, one of them is that the hood. I don't know what you call that. Is it a trunk?
Yeah,
on
I guess the
engines?
rear
hatch.
hatch.
The rear hatch, which
Yeah.
is also the engine bay,
Yeah.
what you would think of as the hood. That is on an electronic
Popper.
like popper. So if you shut it, you use the remote and it pops open, which would be a cool feature on like a Koenigsegg.
Yeah.
Or it'd be a cool feature on like a custom mini truck from the 90s.
Yeah, or on some. How about this? It's not a cool feature unless it's on a Koenigsegg.
Or a primered Mazda B2200.
Everywhere else, it's like, why did you do it this way? And so the Fierri, of course, had it this way, as are the doors. The doors are also on poppers. And so this whole time that we've owned the car, the trunk has just been,
A mess.
the trunk or hood or whatever you want to call it has been on this popper. And when I bought it, the guy warned me that if I closed it, it would be difficult to open it again.
Can I just say that anytime you buy a car, someone has to warn you that something is
Here
About accessing the engine bay.
Here's some strict warning.
Yeah. If they're willing to reveal something, it's you better listen. Because usually they're going to hide as much
Imagine
as
what they're
possible.
not warning you.
Yeah.
Letting you find out the hard way.
This one breached into, okay, I'd better tell him.
Yeah.
I can't sleep at night. So he warned me not to close the trunk. And I thought one time I did close it and then got it opened again.
Yeah.
It comes with this aftermarket remote. And I thought I remembered opening it. But I just thought to myself, we should never close this.
Right.
Because there is no way to get it. There's no
access.
Otherwise access to the trunk other than this popper.
There's no cable backup or anything.
Yeah,
like
there's
that,
no, you know, it was not designed. If it was designed by a company that designs cars instead of someone who had like snorted bath salts, then it would have some like backup. It did not have that. And so for whatever reason, also not going to get into this, we just always did that. We just never closed
we just
trunk.
like gently
Just use the
rested
light
it down.
Yeah. And every time we would close it, it was like, do not close it too hard. You know, it was like a thing. It was like,
Close it, but don't close.
yeah, it was like John's closing the trunk, and everyone would kind of like stop what they're doing and watch, and they would set it down. And so we just lived like this. It's in terror all the time, and for years, as long as we've owned that car, we've never done anything about it. And so I came down to take pictures to sell it a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
It was,
And I took some pictures, and then Garrett and John drove the car.
went out for a little joyride.
They went out for a little joyride.
Yeah, I'll get to that later. But
And through some combination of events, the trunk closed.
Yeah.
We're not sure what happened, but the trunk closed.
something went terribly wrong, and the trunk closed.
Yeah. Through their negligent
Pretty much.
ownership, stewardship of this car, they closed the trunk. And so it happened. The thing we were trying to avoid happened.
It went and happened.
And there's no way to open the trunk. And now we've got this car who drains its own battery.
Yeah.
It's another one of its.
Yeah, that's
That's
normally
one of its features.
Right. Yeah. Normally
It's
we
little-
always disconnect.
Yeah,
you know,
we usually pull the battery.
Yeah.
And so now the trunk is closed with no way to access it. And so I was like, ugh. This thing just won't. It's never going to be like, you know, the last 6 months actually weren't that bad. It's like every time you touch this thing, something else breaks. And so we ended up, so this is like, all right, I'll come back next week and we'll deal with this new problem that it had.
I also did some research because I'm not very familiar with door poppers, as I'm sure you guys aren't, because they're not very popular. So I was trying to do Googling around, figuring out like, is there some type of mechanical
You're on like minitrucks.org.
release? Yeah. So like, surprisingly, when you Google stuff, the latest information you get's from like 2007 on like, Chevy forums and like lowrider shit like that. And it's just like it's a hodgepodge. It like depends on the fucking like some manufacturers actually do have a cable that you can yank on and release it. Other ones are electronic only.
I would not expect anything about this car to be the nice version.
Right. Yeah.
Which it was not. And so we basically had to like partially deconstruct the trunk. John and I got in there and just unbolted the whole latch mechanism.
Got rid of this
through the roof. Yeah, while it was latched, and just pulled it apart. But it was 2 bolts to pull that. Once we got in there, which was not, you know, it was kind of ugly, but we got in there, and then it was 2 bolts to pull this thing off. And it was like, why for 2 years
did we not? Why did we not do this?
did we not pull this thing off? That was 2 bolts.
Yeah.
2 bolts, and otherwise it was like, don't shut the trunk. Everything we did. So anyways, that happened, but we did it. We opened it up, we fixed it for the new owner. Now the trunk doesn't close. You're welcome. Just
That's what gravity's for.
Yeah, one more little
Just don't drive it fast in reverse.
one more little favor for them. Yeah, don't go up a 45-degree incline in reverse and hit a speed bump at speed. But other than that, you'll be fine. So yeah, we took pictures of it, and we are going to put that thing on Bring a Trailer. Of course, that is the only.
Well, we say we'll be putting it on. That's up to them.
Yeah, we'll be submitting it to
Man, that is
If it passes, they're strict.
Yeah, if they don't put that on there, that's their loss. That car is like made. That car is like definition of bring a trailer.
Yeah.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah. So we'll let you know when that happens. I think that site moves kind of slow. I've heard it
it's
takes
not like,
at
it's
least
not like
like
you just send it and then it just appears.
yeah, it's not eBay. I think they rewrite whatever you tell them into their own descriptions, that they've got some quality control. But that's going to happen soon, we hope, within the next month. Yeah. So
be generous with your bids.
yeah, we'll let you know if anyone else there wants to bid on it. I mean, I think they can. The thing is, I was kind of thinking the only person who would want this car is someone who's like a fan of us and they want it in their collection or something. And I was like, but I'm sure enough people will want it. And now my recent thinking is like, that's not true at all.
We're nobody.
Well, we just showed that, like, look, the first thing we tried to do with this car was a phenomenal success. And that's what we did with it. Imagine what you can do with it. I think that's really that's the sales pitch. It's not like own this piece of history. It's like, who cares? It's cool what we did with it. But my fantasy for this car is someone does something else awesome with it. Like, keep that story going.
We're passing the baton.
Yeah, like passing the torch and just turn it into some other awesome thing. That would be awesome. So hopefully the car community keeps this thing going. And it doesn't just sit in some collection. Like, please.
It doesn't just get babied.
This car demands to be driven.
This thing needs to be out there snapping necks. All right. So speaking of cars for sale, I have bought a new car.
Congratulations.
Which doesn't really happen too often.
It's pretty rare.
Not very unlike me.
I conserve my energy. But when I decide to move,
when he sees something he wants, he takes it.
I'm like a mousetrap, spring loaded. And then when a specific kind of mouse,
and I'm like a poorly made mouse trap.
Garrett is more like
catches things that aren't mice. Yeah.
Garrett's more like fly paper, and things that aren't even the desired target
just get stuck to him.
Tend to drift by and get caught.
And then they fall off just as quick.
Moths and quarters, bits of food,
pieces of gum.
Gum, other pieces of fly paper. So, so here's the story of this car. I've always liked Land Cruisers, Toyota Land Cruisers, and I still do. They're awesome cars. When I found the 4Runner, I started out looking for a Land Cruiser, and then I found the 4Runner, and it was so clean just from the photos that I was like, good enough. I want to own this thing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of doing a project that involved some off-road and lots of highway miles, and I needed a vehicle for that, and the 4Runner kind of fit that bill. And so I went and bought the 4Runner, and that's why I own the 4Runner. And I just ended up really liking it because the majority of what I use it for is 2 to 3 hour trips or day trips or like daily driver duties. That's the majority of it.
Going downtown.
Hauling some gear.
Yeah, it's either like gear. I mean, it's like I use it for work, but the off-road and stuff like that, I don't use that much, if at all.
Don't do too much wheeling.
I'm not a wheeling enthusiast. I don't have anything against it. It's just like that's
why you haven't put one of those like exo cages on.
Yeah, I'm not into it for that. But
when you spend 3 or 4 days detailing the windshield, you don't want to go wheeling and get it all dusty in 2 minutes.
I like that truck for reasons beyond what I can do with it. It's like kind of like owning a sports car.
It's like a status symbol.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but I like the 4Runner a lot. And so, anyways, my friend who has like similar taste, at least in the truck side, on Monday he sent me an ad for a 2005 Lexus LX 470, which, if you know anything about, can we put pictures up?
Yeah.
Here's a picture of my car that I bought. Spoiler alert. If you don't know anything about that generation, that's like, it's not the current one, but the previous Land Cruiser. So probably
They don't change those things all too often.
Yeah, they're not too. It's the 100 series Land Cruiser, if that means anything to you. It's late 90s, early 2000s generation. They kind of look like giant Subaru Foresters
Yeah.
from like the same era. Like it's that kind of shape. But Land Cruisers, unless you know what they are, they don't look. You would not even really know you've seen them.
They kind of blend in.
They look very generic. Yeah. I mean, whatever Toyota's styling is at that time, they'll just be that. Also, they're not like the Halo.
Yeah.
It's not the BMW 7 Series. It's just like also this. And so he sends me this car, this Craigslist car, for this 05 LX 470, which is exactly the same as a Land Cruiser with different front end, different wheels, nicer leather.
In Japan, it was like sold as like a Land Cruiser or something else, I think.
Oh, was it?
Like Cygnus, I think. It was just like a slightly upmarket.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's like, it's identical model.
Because I think
with,
at the time they didn't have Lexus in Japan.
Yeah, it's essentially an options package even. It's like, it's the same stuff underneath. Motor, transmission, driveline, everything's the same, but like stereo, seats, trim, that kind of stuff changes. But they're very similar vehicles. And so he sends me this thing. It has 65,000 miles on it, which is very low for those. It's really rare to buy a Land Cruiser that you're not going to drive. That's dumb. And so it was very low miles. And the ad was like, I wish I had saved it, but I didn't. But I remember it well because I stared at it so much. The ad was like, you are looking at a car which from the day we bought it became a member of our family. And this car has only been cared for with the nicest shampoos and waxes. And like, it's just this ad of just this love story of this car. Original owner, low mileage, like babied this thing, dealer maintained, you know, something where if you're looking to buy a car, it's like, this is what you want.
Yeah.
He's, from my point of view, it's like, this guy knows what he has.
Somewhat local too.
And he's selling it. Yeah. And it was 2 hours away. And so I was like, oh man, my buddy was like, you need to buy this. And I told him, we kind of like were talking about it for a day. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy this thing. And either you can have it or I'll keep it or we'll flip it.
Yeah.
But like one of us needs this car basically. And he was like, do it. And so first of all, I've said this before, but it is surprisingly difficult to get cash quickly from the bank. Like weirdly difficult. You have to like call them days in advance.
Because you actually brought them cold hard cash.
Yeah. I like to deal with cash because I don't want to be like, okay, we agree on the price. Like, let's meet tomorrow and I'll have a cashier's check. Yeah. I lost a car that way. I lost a really clean 510.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Maybe like, it was a while ago, 15
because
years
you didn't
ago.
have cold hard cash.
We agreed on it. It was like $3,000 and this thing was clean. I mean, clean. Like today it would go for like 20 on Bring a Trailer. But like $3,000 or $3,500 at the time was like, it's a good deal.
Fair amount, yeah.
But like,
I've even had where I've like just not been able to buy a car just because like it's on a weekend.
Yeah.
Like the bank isn't open, but some other dude showed up with cash.
That might have been what this was.
Like,
anyways,
it's been like, Mom, can you go to the ATM? I can get $250 for mine. I can get $250.
We shook on it. It was like $3,000 or $3,200, and I went home to get the money, and we were supposed to meet the next day, and he sold it. And it was just like, what can I do? It's a guy. I can't like leave him a Yelp review. I mean, you're powerless, and so it's like show up with money,
right?
You know. And so I go and check this car up. So he posted it Monday, and everyone I'm telling is like, it's gonna be there on Friday.
Right. Don't worry about it.
That's what I was.
It's like the thing with Land Cruisers too is they are way not as popular as 4Runners and Tacomas. They're very popular for people who want them, but like everyone likes
it's not a mainstream.
Everyone likes a Tacoma. It's like it's a small truck, you know. A Land Cruisers, they get shit gas mileage.
It takes some commitment.
Yeah, it's a different vehicle. But if you know what you're looking for, you would be into it. And so I was really worried I wasn't going to get a chance to get down there. So anyways, Friday comes. I finally get the money. That's all hassle. We get down there. I Ubered. I took an hour and a half Uber.
Oh, yeah.
Which is still cool that I was able to do that.
How much did that cost?
120 with tip.
Yeah.
It's really not.
It's not
Yeah.
terrible.
To not have to use a favor with a friend,
Right, exactly,
which
yeah.
is like a 3-hour minimum endeavor for them,
Yeah.
and like $20, whatever gas is. So it was pretty sweet, and the Uber driver's happy.
Yeah.
They love
Long rides.
long
commutes.
rides. They're just getting paid the whole way rather than picking up passengers. And so I get there, and from across the parking lot, he's like, I'm parked behind whatever. And I see it from far away, and I'm like, there it is. The thing's pretty clean. Like, you kind of get a gut reaction to it. It's like, sweet, clean.
Yeah.
And as I get closer, I was like,
Uh-oh.
this is pretty clean.
Yeah.
And so he opens it up. I'm like, yeah, hey, what's up? And I'm looking inside. And I was like, this, I haven't really looked at it yet, but you just get a feel. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I'm not immediately blown away by this
Right.
thing. And I have learned, here is my new tip for buying a car, is you kind of don't know a car until you wash it. Because when you wash a car, your hand
You're
basically,
soaking in. You're
well, it's just
caressing
like
it.
you trace every
Yeah.
surface of the thing, and
You
like
like see it in different lights.
yeah, and that's when you're like, has this scratch always been here?
Yeah, you find new scratches
all
or
sorts of
little
shit.
dents and nicks and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so when I look at a car now, I look at it as if I'm washing it, because that's really the way you do it. Because in your mind, you would think, why would I ever look at the
Have you seen
fender gap?
Yeah.
some of those like recent like Carvana and
Uh-huh.
stuff, like the places that they actually do a really good job of like showing that. Like
Yeah.
if you like look at a car on their website, they have like a 300, and it shows
Uh-huh.
like, here's a ding on the door, here's like curb rash.
Yeah.
Like because I guess a lot of those people buy those cars sight unseen.
Yeah.
But they do a pretty good job of like showing like, here's a little like tear in the seat.
Those websites are typically newer-ish cars,
Right,
though,
you're
right?
right. Yeah, well, yeah, they're like,
I'm just curious.
yeah, like 10 years or less.
Yeah.
Usually.
It's kind
And
of like
so-
CarMax, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder too if they have. Can you sell anything to CarMax?
You can. I think
They can-
They'll buy
they'll-
anything, but
they'll-
a lot
yeah.
of it they'll just send to
But they
auction.
won't
If it-
resell.
I don't
Yeah.
think they'll sell anything older than 10 years. I think
Well, it's
approximately 10 years.
I think this advice is good for. I mean, it's good for any car, but especially when it's something where it's like there could be some hidden shit here. I mean, it's basically used private party sales.
Right. Yeah.
Where,
That's what you have to be
where,
careful. Or if it's some like sketchy ass dealership. That's the
yeah,
worst.
sure. Which is essentially a used private party deal.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this thing like very close, and everything I look at, I'm not being blown away by. And it's like stupid shit. I mean, stuff that only I
Just
am
cosmetics.
really going to care about. But it's like this trim has sat in sun. This is not garaged every day the way you describe.
Right. Yeah.
And like this paint is fine, but if you're into detailing, it's not that great. And the interior is the biggest disappointment. It's like this leather's starting to get stiff, which means it sat in sun
Can I just
a
say
lot.
that this is kind of off topic, but like when you see a car, like I generally prefer cloth interiors, because so many times you see a car with leather interior, you're just like, oh, that looks gross.
Yeah.
Like it's all like wrinkly.
Well,
and
and old,
stuff.
and old.
Not even that. Even like on like a 5-year-old car, you'll see it and be like, oh, these seats are like clearly have like, these don't look anything like it they did when they were new.
Yeah, if it's not, well, that's what I mean. If it's not
but like a
cared
cloth
for,
usually
cloth holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cloth, especially like a high quality cloth that
yeah.
basically look the way they did
It's like you
new.
can clean it, but like leather has like, oh, like this, like these seats just have these big permanent wrinkles going down them.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get another chance at this car. They don't make them anymore. And so to find one where the owner's like, this was a member of our family,
bragging
it's
about
like,
it in this huge
great,
way, yeah.
because you're not going to buy new seats. A new leather seat
Yeah.
from Lexus is going to be like $2,500 or something. And so I was like, oh man, like everything I looked at was just like, this is not. And that's what I ended up buying it, obviously. But when we were negotiating, I was just like, this is not as nice as you described, basically. And so I did buy the car, and I do like the car, but I'm not as excited about it as I thought I would be because it's not up to my like hyper anal, nerdy kind of OCD standard, but it will be there. I'm confident in like 3 months.
You can bring it back.
I think everything that he didn't do well, I can fix. None of it is permanent. Specifically, there's no paint work on it. It has a couple dents here and there, like small little door dings. but there's no paint work, which I really like. I'm tired of owning cars that have like, I don't know, the hood. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Something happened. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about that thing, which means I will be selling the 4Runner, which I owned that car, assuming I'd own it for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And I just dumped money into the maintenance. I like got it. I got the 4Runner to where I wanted it to be. But now the next owner will get to enjoy that. But something that happened while we were there. So he wanted 20 grand, and my top dollar, if this thing was actually nice, was 18. So I brought $18,000 in cash, which is like getting to the upper limit.
Even all hundreds, that's still.
Yeah, like 10 grand is usually my comfort level.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of cash. 18 was like, this is a cumbersome amount of cash.
You got a big bulge in your pocket.
Yeah. And it's like, it's weird when I got it from the bank. Even the bank is kind of like, like they don't want to touch it. Like they'll hand it to you in an envelope. And they're just like, it's yours now.
It's your responsibility.
I don't know. They don't. It's uncommon. They don't have this like, okay, we meet in this room off to the side, and we give you the cash, and we got
through a
this
little slot.
We have this nice like case. She's like, do you want an envelope? It's like this kind of panicked thing. And so we go back and forth. We haggle on the price, and we ended at just under 17,000. And we're in the front seat counting out a shitload of cash.
You have to count it like 12 times because you keep.
Yeah. And so we count it out. We have it. And it's like, we're done. Sign the pink slip. And I was like, we met in a parking lot. I Ubered there, and he drove this truck.
So how's he going to get back? Yeah.
And so I was like, do you want to ride home? He's just like, I'll Uber.
Yeah.
He's just, because in his mind, he's just like, get away from me. I have your money, and you have my, now in my mind, time bomb.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to go back on this decision or whatever. I mean, he was just like, nope, I'll Uber. He's like backing away from the truck.
Yeah.
It was like, I'll give you a
I never
ride.
want to see it again.
Yeah. And he's gone. And so I was kind of cracking up at that. Like he walked off into the parking lot, and I sat there for a minute kind of collecting my stuff. And then I pulled away to go get gas, and I thought I drove in the direction he went, and he was gone.
Vanished.
He just vanished into thin air. And a couple podcasts ago we were talking about that, was like, you want, when you sell a car, to just like
never hear from
do not ever contact me ever again.
Yeah.
But as I was driving home, I went through a automated toll, and so it's still in his name. That'll be my last little. I'll get a
you did?
Little ding.
Well, there's nothing I can't pay. It was like, just drive through.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, the sign was like,
it didn't have a cash lane.
Yeah, the sign was like, don't stop, just check your mail for the bill. And I was like,
because of like COVID or something.
maybe.
They
Yeah.
want the
Like,
face-to-face.
all right, send me the
That's funny.
bill. Yeah. So anyways, now I have a new truck. And
A new rig.
I like it. Those things are great. I could go on and on about that, but I feel like I've already talked enough about it.
Well, I don't know. I have a little quick tidbit about selling. When I sold my motorcycle, I think back in February, you know how you send in the release of liability, being like, I'm not responsible.
mine anymore. Yeah.
I sold it to this guy. Here's his information.
Yep.
Have you deal with it. But the registration was coming up in May, and I got the registration in the mail for it. And I was like, is this normal, or have you guys ever sold this or whatever? Like a car, and you still get the registration months later?
That would mean they never put it in their name.
That's
I
what
guess.
I thought, right? Yeah. But even if you release the liability, shouldn't they send it to the new address?
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
a whole gray area.
I mailed in the little paper form that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But when I got the new registration, I went on DMV's website, and I think there's like an electronic version that you do. So I just resubmitted it as the electronic version. But it's pretty sweet. Like, this guy owns this motorcycle for 3 months and just never registers it in his name.
Just chilling.
Some people do that, I guess, because they want to like flip it, maybe.
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
Just hand off your sign.
I thought about it. I didn't sign the pink slip because I was like, man, I could put this thing on Bring a Trailer right now.
Yeah.
And like, this could have just been a weekend thing I did. But yeah, anyways, now you guys get to hear about all the new detailing.
Adventures with another similar.
If you thought the 4Runner had a lot of boring stories, oh boy. Let me tell you about this thing.
Kind of related to what Coyne was just talking about. This is an ad that I found a week and a half ago, something like that.
Craigslist foibles.
Something you teased us with.
Facebook Marketplace. I was like, dude, I just found the sweetest used car ad.
Yeah, he's been telling us about this ad for
Since the moment I saw it.
weeks now.
Yeah.
So we have not, John and I have not seen it.
Yeah, look at the part with the photo first.
Oh, okay.
right.
We are now
Checking it out.
looking at the ad for the first time. Ooh.
91.
So like I say, it kind of ties into what Coyne
Yeah.
was just talking about.
Okay. There's a photo of a Land Cruiser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 1991 Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser Sport Utility.
Only
235,000
Only
miles.
asking $2,700.
$2,700.
Which is fine.
Okay.
Okay, now go to the screenshot of the description.
Body excellent. Windows good. Straight 6. Interior bad. Runs
It gets a lot
excellent.
better.
New brakes and wheel cylinders on rear. New plugs, caps, rotor, and wires. Tires have very low miles on them. AC works good. At this time, I'm getting ready to leave town on the 8th. Currently has a non-op on it, so it'll need to be trailered. Live on 10 acres, so come drive it hard. Check out the 4-wheel drive. That's it.
Don't you think that inviting someone to come drive your car hard before you buy? I think that's
Okay, I agree.
contrast that with like no test drives unless cash
Yeah.
in hand.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. Yeah, come drive drive it hard, man.
I live on 10 acres. Drive my 4-wheel drive. Who knows what else we'll do?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll be buds. Yeah, it's a $2,700 car. How long do you think I'm planning on hanging out? 10 acres. We can have a whole afternoon of fun.
I do believe it's sold.
Do some
surprisingly.
exploring.
I wonder what the sales transaction. It's okay. I like it. No, drive it hard.
Yeah, you got to come on.
Come on.
Come on. I got some rocks over here.
Yeah, I've placed the pink slip in the center of my property. You need to drive the car.
Yeah, like I was tempted to go drive it. I wouldn't even want to buy it. I
Yeah.
just wanted to wheel.
I just want to drive your car hard.
He's wheeling on his property.
Is that a potential thing I can do? Yeah, that's pretty good. That'd be like, I live on a wide 4-lane road, so come use launch control. Come do a burnout. This thing hauls.
Do a few launches.
Have you ever gone to look at a car or tried to buy a car where the owner will be more enthusiastic about its performance than like you are?
Yeah.
Or like they've clearly never been in like a fast car.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, get on it. Like this thing hauls.
I've definitely done that on some new car test drives.
Yeah. Yeah, the dealer will be like, you better
Step on it.
stand on
No, don't be afraid to it. Dig
this
into
thing.
it.
Yeah, it's like, I
This
don't
thing has
need-
200 horsepower.
It's like, it's not gonna impress me. Yeah. Pretty sweet. Well, I'm not surprised it's sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's sold quick. But
I might
It's a good
do
deal.
that when I sell the 4
yeah, encourage him to check out the 4-wheel drive and
drive
come
it.
out and drive it hard.
drive it hard.
Like not even just like come check it out. It's,
Yeah.
You need to drive this thing hard.
No,
You-
don't leave until
Put it through its paces.
Yeah. Okay, so one other thing that I put on here, we've talked about this before, but navigation systems are definitely a like hit or miss kind of thing. But these days they're generally pretty good. Like,
And they're kind of like future proof.
Well, I actually haven't used a modern day navigation system.
Well, you mean more?
besides
You mean kind
CarPlay.
of more? You just like the
Infotainment.
Yeah.
audio slash.
I just mean, yeah.
Oh, just the whole.
Yeah.
head
Sorry,
unit.
navigation in my mind just means like how
whole-
they implement the audio
Yeah.
and the HVAC
Yeah.
and the everything, all that. Where it's like, yeah, maybe some of them have like bigger screens than others or whatever. But it's like, they're all pretty good, especially if they have CarPlay and stuff. It's like, they're pretty solid. But there is this whole period of time which encompasses the car I've just bought.
Well, before that, there was a very long period where you could like change a stereo in like 20 minutes in any car
Yeah,
to
it was
whatever,
like
to whatever you want.
Single din,
Yeah.
double din.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That was just the music and the stereo. Like,
here it is.
Radio, yeah.
You can pimp it out or whatever. And if you buy a car now, like the 4Runner was like that, it's like, put in a modern
Yeah.
head unit.
yeah,
It's like,
with a
great.
touch screen and CarPlay.
Touch screen, and it's like awesome. I mean, you still have to get into the dash, but it's like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But starting in maybe probably early 2000s for like the kind of forward
High-end
luxury
cars.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ending around like, honestly, through like 2014 or 15, there's probably still the dregs of it.
Even today, for like maybe a select few,
are still bad.
like if a car right now just doesn't have CarPlay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, these cars are just frozen in time to that entertainment system.
that resolution,
That interface.
Yeah, and even at the time, they were unimpressive.
Right.
It was like we knew we were in a bad time at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like these, because I guess stuff was getting better so quickly. You know, that's when like iPhone year over year was actually an impressive jump.
Yeah.
It was the same kind of stuff. It was like these screens, anything they're going to put in a car is not going to have anything resembling a phone or a computer or anything. Whereas now they're like sort of close-ish.
they have like Android base.
Yeah, it's like they're running the same OS.
Yeah.
And so anything from that era is just like, it's garbage. And you're basically, you either have to do some like hopefully reliable, semi-ironed out kind of Chinese, like sort of mock looking
Android Tesla screen
replacement
for any car
thing. Yeah. And it's like, those are actually starting to get decent. They're on their like fourth iteration in some cases, but you're still kind of taking a shot there. Or you're just using the stock one and waiting for it to die.
Yeah.
And then paying like $2,000 or whatever to fix this thing.
I remember not too long ago I was looking at a GS Lexus from the same era, and it was the same thing. I was like, "Can you add CarPlay to this?" But like, no, not really. There's not really. There's not really
sort of workaround.
Yeah, there's like, I know of one like stereo shop that did a custom job that added like a custom mounted double. You're like, fuck that.
It's like an urban legend.
Yeah, and so in this case, the reason it's so bad, and I would just change it out, is that they usually tie the AC controls in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing, a lot of them will put like trip computer and like fuel mileage, and it's like, I don't mind losing that.
Yeah.
That's a gimmick anyways. I calculated at the pump, you know, I don't care about that stuff. But when they put like, do you want air conditioning?
All the AC controls.
You can't really get away from that. I mean, it's this whole period of time where car reviewers were yelling at manufacturers to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And then they kind of finally stopped doing it lately. And it's like, it's good again. Or what, you know, or technology caught up or whatever. And so that's kind of a bummer because I now own a vehicle that's trapped in there, and we'll see what there is to do about that. But it was making me remember also this thing that no longer happens where you would have the stereo, and then beneath the stereo they would just put a cubby.
Oh yeah, the little like the wallet cubby or the phone
it would
cubby.
just be like it's a space.
Yeah.
Like
Put your cigarettes there.
yeah, it's just like in the dash. Like here's a space, and you could turn it as a double dim.
Yeah, you
but
could
they
do a
would-
double dim, but it was a single dim.
They would only use one, and then it's just like a hole in the dash. But it's like that hole is pretty killer. It ends up
Now,
being
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's pretty solid space to put stuff because it's just in the dash. But they don't do that anymore. It's not like we didn't know what to do with this space.
Yeah.
So here's a cubby for you. It's like, damn. Anyways, I'll let you know if I end up dropping $600 for some Chinese CarPlay thing.
Even like BMW's iDrive, like they still use it, and I haven't actually used a modern day iDrive, but like my dad has.
Drive a Supra, you can find it.
He has a 2010, I think.
The new stuff is finally, there's some gimmicky shit built into it.
Yeah, I remember.
But it's like, it's fast, it's responsive.
Yeah.
It looks good. It's high resolution. It's like fine.
Garrett, weren't you telling
enough.
like our friend Peter bought a new BMW? And there's like hand gestures
Yeah,
you can do.
I don't think you have to use them.
But they're there.
Yeah,
you
just
can like turn up the volume.
Yeah, and you
It's
can like there's a thing where you could like draw a letter if you want to like look up something in like the owner's manual.
Yeah.
You can kind of probably guess the things that were drawn on the touchpad.
Yeah, Lexus has that too. It's like a little mouse
Yeah,
with like a touchpad.
Yeah.
kind of thing. I assume on those projects, the engineers are like, this isn't the way to do this. Why are we doing this? Like, I know, but just do it like,
People will talk about it.
Well, it's just funny. Like they made all those laws like you can't text and drive, but it's like you can use your little cursor.
no,
thing
those are like, what? Yeah,
draw
you can draw the letters that you want.
This is all
like,
acceptable.
Really?
Text Susan.
Yeah. Okay, the crossover question. How to frame this?
Okay, so as you know, we've had a Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid for about a little over a year now.
Your personal family.
Yeah, my wife drives
Not
it
the
most
three
of
of
the time.
us.
Yeah.
No, the three of us car bros share
Yeah.
a Honda Clarity plug-in hybrid. Well, no, my parents, my dad has always liked that car,
Sure.
so he was like, "I'll buy that from you."
Well, didn't they have a Clarity?
They still do. Or
They have the all-electric one,
They have
right?
the full electric one.
Yeah.
I know this is really boring.
Yeah.
But so like my dad was like, "I'll buy yours off you," and I was like, "Okay, maybe."
The option is there.
Yeah. So like for the moment, we've basically switched cars, so we're driving their
all electric.
all electric one until the lease is up in a few months.
Why? They just don't want to use it?
Well, that they since they want ours anyways, like, well, I'll just trade you.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
for the time being, we're just using that as our main family transportation.
Okay.
So, and my wife kind of wants an SUV, a small SUV. So we've just kind of researching them, but I keep kind of going back and forth on whether those things can actually be cool or not.
What does cool mean
Just
to you?
like, because a crossover is kind of like the like, especially now, it's like the most generic car you can buy.
It has become car.
Where it's like, where in the 90s or, early, like a Civic was kind of like a generic car.
Yeah.
But like a Civic, you can make, you've always been able to like make a Civic cool if you wanted, if you were inclined.
Yeah.
You could make it dumb looking, or you could actually like make it into a performance car if
Sure.
you wanted. It had at least
So when you say cool, you mean
just like more than
something you're like
basic transportation,
something worth looking at.
Yeah, not that I really want to do that,
Yeah.
but just like it's kind of, because you see more people doing the kind of like adventure style where they put like all-terrain tires and
Yeah.
stuff on a CRV,
like a 2-inch lift kit.
yeah. And I don't know how well it works, but at least if you see one of those, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So can you make a crossover cool?
Yeah, or just like or notable.
Yeah.
Have some character.
What it's making me think of is I'm into BMW anyways, but until the first M5 in the late 80s, that car was such a big deal because it was like a sedan.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's
like
fast.
a fast sedan.
It has 4 doors.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the same thing where it was like sedans.
It takes some time.
You either buy a dedicated sports car or you get a sedan, and they broke that mold. I mean, I'm sure there are other fast 4 doors, but that's kind of the most notable one where it's like sedans can now be fast.
Right.
Yeah.
And now a fast sedan, I mean, sedans are kind of dying, but now fast sedan is,
Kind of commonplace.
it's like
Yeah.
you'd better make the fast version.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, now pretty much all sedans are at least somewhat
yeah, it's
cool.
like the sedan is like the sporty.
Yeah, the
choice.
Toyota Camry TRD. And
It's like,
the
what can you do with
Accord
it?
Sport and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah, the fans kind of demand, like, of course it's a sedan, you make it cool, otherwise
Right.
I'd get a crossover.
Exactly.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And so someone needs to do that first cool
Yeah.
crossover.
Like the CRV SI or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
Yeah.
the closest one is is the Forester considered a crossover? It's
Yeah.
kind of in
Yeah,
that.
that's definitely a
like the
crossover.
Forester Sport, I would say, is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's still
yeah,
gutless.
yeah.
Like the motor,
I mean, they
in it
used to
still
make the
sucks.
turbo one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've even seen like there's a few, if you put like lowered Mazda CX-5, like there's some that like they look cool.
Yeah.
To me.
I think
It's like
it
you put like
needs-
some like big wheels, you lower it down. It
Yeah.
looks just kind of like a big hatchback.
The thing about a fast sedan is that whatever the initial purpose of that car is, it still does that very well. And then they just add a bunch of other shit where you kind of have to look. I mean, now it is cool, but I think at the time it'd be like, who buys an M5?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the guy who can't let go of having a fast thing,
Right.
but as a family or whatever.
or like a Taurus SHO or something.
Yeah, something like that where it's like, who buys that? Because early they were like freak shows. It's
Right.
like, why is there a big motor in a Taurus? That doesn't make any sense. And so you could make a crossover cool by ruining all the stuff that it's good at. Like that's kind of not
Make
hard.
it like practical on riding good and stuff.
Yeah, and so like what is the version of it where it's like that's awesome, the only downside is it's more money.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does all the shit that you want a crossover for. You still need to be able to convince the
It's kind of like usually like the aftermarket is kind of there to meet the demand of what people are doing, but there hasn't really been that much for even though they sell 1 billion of them.
Yeah.
It's just like either people don't care, but like if you like Google like lowered CRV, there's like 2.
Yeah.
Even though
Someone's done it.
They sell
you
like
know.
500,000.
Yeah, it's like
a year.
it's like their most sellingest vehicle, and like 3 people have lowered it.
Yeah. So does anyone know if you can lower this car?
Yeah. I suspect we won't get a cool crossover until they figure out what is the combination of things.
Ford has the
the Escape
or something.
Isn't there Escape
There's like
ST
an
or
Edge
something?
They're trying.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're trying to find the formula.
They're expensive. That's the thing.
But we'll see. I think we'll know it when we see it. I think we'll know it when it comes out and people start raving about it. It'll be like something has changed,
Right.
And now that's the thing to beat.
Yeah.
And it starts this new.
Well, I think the problem is just manufacturers don't care about trying to make a because they're selling so many of them already. Like the average person now buys a
They don't really need
crossover,
to
and so
expand the market.
It does. The segment doesn't exist.
yeah.
And until someone creates it, why would they try?
Well, yeah, I think Ford's trying to, but the demand isn't there for it yet because people like us would instead buy a sedan performance car, or even there's the larger SUV performance class like the
whatever it's going to be has to appeal to a broad.
right exactly
To do what you're
because
saying.
like if Garrett got a CRV and like tried to make it cool, pretty much anything he does to it, his wife is gonna not like.
Right.
Like it's gonna ruin it.
for her. It has to.
And like that, they're buying it. Like that's gonna be her primary car
and then
too.
even if you go like the other way and like lift it and shit, like that's gonna like make it probably ride louder and
yeah, exactly.
handle even
It'll be
worse.
harder for her to get into it.
It'll handle less car like.
It has to pass the non-enthusiast spouse test.
Right.
You can't. It's
a barrier.
The whole thing about cars like that, like sedans used to be, is like, this is not your car. It's
Yeah.
the family's car.
Well,
and so
beg
you
to differ.
can't.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in your case, but like it's not a
Right.
Miata.
Yeah.
That's your special thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're buying a sedan. We're going to be going to soccer practice in this and getting groceries. It can't be something that was clearly just for you
Yeah.
and all of us hate.
Yeah.
And we're just like letting you have this. I think we're on the verge of it.
It's coming.
Yeah. I think it's coming.
I think if Subaru took the Crosstrek and put like an STI or WRX motor into it,
The Crosstrek has the potential.
yeah, because
They are doing a bigger engine version.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's not a.
I think
like,
that's all.
major jump.
That's all it needs. Like like if a manufacturer put a performance engine that's like changed. I mean, just changed suspension and stuff just so it still rides nicely. Because that's all you need.
I mean, even using the Mustang as my daily driver, I can definitely appreciate the like, oh, this car's easy to get in and out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like drop into it every time you get in and out.
Because it's like Christina drives the Jeep occasionally, and like that's a nearly 500 horsepower, all-wheel drive performance vehicle. But it's like she doesn't drive it like that.
It's still approachable.
It's still perfectly comfortable.
It idles easily.
Exactly. Yeah. You can drive it normally and still be comfortable, but if you put your foot down,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I think we're close to it.
getting there.
That's the takeaway. It's brewing. Yeah. Okay, so switching gears and semi-related. Toyota is back.
Yep.
It's something we've been noticing.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know.
I think they were, and I only say that because I think they were gone for a second.
They were gone. I would say they were gone from like 04.
So, okay, here's the thing. Before we go into when they were gone, were they gone? And because I said that to my brother, I was like, Toyota's back.
Yeah.
And he was like, they never left.
Yeah,
Guess
they were-
what, Jack?
Yeah. Listen up, Jocko. But here's an example of someone who did leave is Honda.
Yeah.
Honda legitimately was like not good.
Yeah.
from like
early 2000s,
from like 09 to 15.
Yeah, it was just like, what? And like even common folk were
noticing,
saying they're just resting on their laurels, basically. Where like Honda's kind of back. I like a lot of what they're making.
I think they're back.
I like the Civic. I really like the CRV. I like the Pilot. I know you guys don't like the Pilot. But
I like the new Pilot.
Ridgeline.
Yeah. Ridgeline's okay.
Yeah.
Honda's back to whatever it was. It's like solid, good cars. Like they're putting out good stuff. But Toyota, I think Toyota left.
I don't think
less.
I don't think their popularity ever, not among the common folk.
Yeah.
But among the because I mean, Toyota built some like amazing stuff in the 90s.
Yeah, it's really like are you making very interesting models?
Yeah.
And that went from yes in the 90s to way no in the like early-ish 2000s and maybe even teens.
Right.
But it's like the build quality did suffer a little, but not much.
Yeah.
And their reliable stuff was still reliable. It's like Toyota's claim to fame, frankly, is reliability.
It was just very plain.
It's like maybe they aren't the most exciting, but they never fell off the reliability bus. And so to say they're back implies they left, and they kind of didn't. But
they're back to making like relevant.
They're back to making cars that people would actually buy for reasons beyond they're going to be bulletproof.
Right.
Although that is still a driving factor. But the new, has the Corolla been refreshed?
Yeah, the Corolla has like the hatchback.
Oh yeah.
The stick.
Yeah, you can get it with the stick.
The Corolla's pretty solid. The Yaris, I don't really love tiny cars, but it's decent.
It's a
segment
they have
the GR Yaris, which I think is like one of the coolest cars.
That is really
That's
cool.
probably like one of the coolest cars Toyota has made.
Is that in America?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Although rumor is they're going to make a Corolla version.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think that's rumor. I think it's confirmed.
Yeah, it's like Toyota has like
committed,
hinted at it, but not like specifically said what it's going to be.
The Camry is great.
Yeah,
they make it. We kind of talked about this several episodes ago.
That the Camry is good?
Like that they make a TRD
Camry.
Yeah, which is
TRD
ridiculous.
Avalon.
And even the regular version like looks pretty sleek.
Yeah, the funny thing about the Camry, although maybe we can get back to that, the new Highlander is awesome, the brand new one, and the Tacoma is like, it's fine.
It's old,
yeah.
It is what it is, and it's good. It's everything that's always been. The 4Runner is getting old, but they're selling like hotcakes.
Right. Yeah. There's no motivation to upgrade
People
it.
like it because it's old.
Right.
The Tundra and Land Cruiser are old, but still good. But hopefully they refresh those and do a good job. 4Runner, Land Cruiser, Tundra
RAV4
refresh is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because the RAV4 and the Highlander are very good.
Yeah.
And I hope that, but those are very different products from Tundra.
And the new Sienna too, which is, I mean, they're all built on the same platform nowadays.
Yeah, the unibody, whatever stuff is good. And hopefully, they don't have any reason to trip, but hopefully the body on frame stuff also makes that kind of next generation leap, but none of it has yet.
Yeah, they have like plug-in hybrid something.
Yeah. So they're definitely, as long as they don't trip, they're like way.
They brought back the Supra. It's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Funky
Supra,
as it
which
is,
I
but-
love. One of the best looking cars on the road today. The critics agree.
Yes.
So they are mostly back and potentially way back.
Yeah, and supposedly there's a second generation 8.6.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that's
coming,
right.
like,
Sweet.
within the next couple years.
So we'll see what they do with the truck stuff. Hopefully, I assume it's going to be just as good, but we haven't seen anything yet. But specifically good and potentially an answer to the Ken crossovers be cool is the RAV4 Prime.
Yeah, which is the plug-in hybrid, which sounds lame.
Plug-in
It
hybrid.
sounds like boring.
Yeah, plug-in hybrid RAV4 with like 40 miles, I think, of
Yeah.
electric range. But the RAV4 just base, this model is solid. It's not going to blow your mind, but it is designed to be a extremely well thought out, easy to live with, just utility vehicle.
Yeah.
But the plug-in hybrid version they have created, they've leaned a little bit more into performance.
Yeah, which sounds strange. Like from what I've heard, it's almost like a semi like Halo vehicle for the brand.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this thing, they announced it. It's not out yet. I don't think it's for sale yet.
They said like this summer.
So very soon.
This is one of the vehicles that we're interested in.
Yeah,
depending on how hard they are to come by.
I mean, I assume a lot of people are interested in this because it is a relatively fast.
It has over 300 horsepower.
It's like under 6 seconds,
it's supposed
0
to
to
be the
60.
fastest Toyota that's not the Supra.
Dang.
Fastest Toyota, not the Supra. I mean, that's solid.
Yeah.
But the way to crack the cool crossover egg is to make performance accessible to people who don't give a shit about performance. Mm-hmm. And this could be that, because when you add an electric motor, especially one big enough.
Yeah, and it's all-wheel drive, of course.
Yeah, to actually add something. It's not like a Prius where it's like, it's quiet. That's the only thing you notice, where it's like, wow, this has a ton of low-end torque. That could be the thing that gets people to go like, I love the way this thing drives. I don't know shit about cars, but like this is the way
noticeable
better one. And so if they do not limit the supply of those, that's the
it won't. I mean, it won't.
thing.
It's not going to be artificially limited. I think it's just like, can they make enough batteries?
Yeah,
or install enough batteries, because it's not. It's going to be sold all over the world, not just
here. That could potentially be the kind of first very compelling, cool crossover.
Yeah. That's relatively affordable.
That is relatively
it's like under
affordable.
$40,000.
Yeah, that could end up being the one to beat, because that's basically.
Because when you can get like an X3.
I was gonna say Model Y. That's really,
but still a full electric is still like kind of another leap that a lot of people don't want to take.
Yeah, but that is I would say that's its most important competition.
Yeah, I guess the entry ones will be in a similar price range.
Yeah.
Still, I think there's a lot of people that just won't buy a full electric car for whatever reason.
The audience I'm interested in is the ones who will.
Yeah.
Where they're actually looking at a Model Y and they're not such diehard Tesla fans that's all they're going to get.
Right.
It's like those models actually cross shop, and you're going up against Toyota.
Yeah.
And so it's not like they don't know how to make an interior. Right. It's like, in a lot of ways, a RAV4 is going to be easier to live with.
Yeah, because I was watching a few videos of like, they did like a press event in Japan a week or two ago. And there's a guy, they actually like did it at a track, and there's guys like pushing it pretty hard. Like, this thing is really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
I mean, for considering like what kind of tires it has and stuff, they're like,
considering the fact
like, this thing is gonna like really surprise you when you drive it.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about that. I like that they did it. I don't know where it came from, but it's one of those things where it's like they were ahead of the game, basically.
Them making a plug-in RAV4 makes a lot of sense with the fact that they made it like really fast.
Now, I mean, leaning into the performance side of it, which makes sense. Electric cars can be fast, obviously. I don't know if they like cracked.
Well, they've had a hybrid RAV4 for a while, but this is the first plug-in hybrid. Yeah,
it's basically just that with a bit like bigger battery, like better motors. I guess.
Yeah, it's just making it a little more. Yeah. It's leaning a bit more into performance rather than pure efficiency side. So we'll see. Toyota is back, and potentially the RAV4 Prime is going to like lead the charge, maybe even into a new segment. Really,
I've called like 7 different dealers. Be like,
really?
Let me know when you get one.
Get me on the list.
Yeah.
Although I have found that dealers kind of blow you off, and strangely, like when you call about something like that, when it's not like a car they have on the lot, they're like,
when you're asking them to sell you a car that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. We're just like, I'd send you a deposit. Like, okay, but if you're like, if it's a car they have, they'll call you like 20 times.
Yeah, the second you show any interest, they'll call you days on end.
Yeah, the thing that will make that blow up is if the slightly enthusiast spouse wants it, and it appeals to the not enthusiast other spouse. It's like, that's the combination. You get people all over going, oh shit, this one's fun.
And when it's not tremendously, when it's not like a $70,000 BMW.
Yeah, totally. So we'll see. I want to see that thing succeed. I want to see that thing explode, and it has the potential to. But anyways, good on you, Toyota. Welcome back. From your
slumber,
semi step back.
What's the Tora quote? Like, the sleeping giant has awoken or something like that.
They closed one eye to nap, and now they're potentially back. Welcome. Okay. AMG is kind of weak.
Hot take.
Hot take. And here's the caveat. I don't really know that much about AMG.
Yes, I was going to say, Coyne put this topic down. I think it was you, right? Coyne, to put this topic down. And then I was like, man, I have not done any research on Mercedes or AMG.
And neither is Coyne.
And neither am I, which makes me an absolute authority on the matter.
Except for the fact that they have dominated Formula One for the past 5 years.
That doesn't count. That's not AMG.
Mercedes, Petrus, AMG, or whatever their stupid ass name.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, the thing is, I'm not saying all their cars are bad. It's like every once in a while, you will hear about some AMG car that is good. And you'll be like, damn.
The like SLS or what's it? SLS?
It's SLC? Is that what's the SL called now?
I don't know. I think it's just SL.
I thought there was an extra letter at the end of it now.
No, what's the
if you add a letter, it makes it smaller.
One?
AMG GT.
That's it. That used to be the SLS.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so
part of it is their fucking names are like, oh yeah, the AMG GT. Come on.
Yeah.
That's the like really cool looking one.
Here are some notable examples of cool AMGs in the past that you will probably have heard of. First of all, none of that late 80s, early 90s shit about the like Hammer or whatever.
The 190E Cosworth.
Those are kind of cool. Those I will not attack because they are neat. Even though it's one of those cars where
you just
for a long time no one cared about them. And then the price of E30 M3 skyrocketed. And so people were like, aren't these similar?
Yeah.
Just have to drive one.
And so now those have also
you say that
it.
when you're on a back road in that thing.
Yeah. Those are actually cool. I think those are better than the E30 M3.
They're definitely rare.
But they aren't worth as much. Although maybe now they are. Anyways, those aside, it's like 500E, which is not even really an AMG product, but it kind of is. But those are cool. So there's all these like kind of funky stuff in the late 80s, early 90s where it's just like, yeah, they put a big motor in and like didn't do much else. But it was like big motor. Fine. I would say the first car that people actually like enthusiasts, I'm going to get trampled on for this, but the first car that like mattered as far as I'm concerned is the first supercharged E55.
They're like 2002.
Yeah, like 02 or whenever that came out, where it was just like, this thing is fast.
Yep.
And people are like street racing them.
Yeah.
It was basically pulled into the like outlaw culture.
It was basically like a Hellcat like 10 years before.
Totally. You had them going up against like Mustangs and stuff. It's like, that was the car that they hit out of the park, but they existed for many years before that. And then the next one I would say that mattered was the naturally aspirated 6.2 C63.
Yeah.
Because it was like up there with the M3.
Like 2008.
Yeah. It's like that motor is awesome. And then it's like small car, big motor, and whatever.
And it was still like kind of affordable. I mean,
yeah,
relatively.
It was
speaking.
an M3 competitor.
Yeah.
And it's like they're still cool and they sound awesome, even though that motor has some issues. But it's like, what since then? The GT that you're talking about? And they've made some cool stuff. I'm not shitting on all the stuff they've made. I'm just saying they make tons of products.
There's like the AMG GLA.
Tons of products. And so I went because it was like, I do not know. Let me go into this with some research. And I just went to mercedesamg.com because I just wanted a lineup. It's like, give me the lineup. And I can't even find it. They have some vehicles here, which
does Mercedes have like an AMG line or something? Like, you know how BMW has like M Sport or whatever?
Yes, they do. So it's made even worse because of that fact.
What do they call it?
AMG. Just
but isn't, because you know you can buy like a 328i and get like, this is the M Sport package where it has like the little like M, but it's not like it's not. That's not an car.
Like, I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I think they do. Not full blown AMG. Where you have to go. Is that the full blown? Is that an M car?
Yeah. I have the M235i, not the M2.
Yeah. Okay. So here are some cars from their lineup. Unless they have a full like lineup I can't see on their site. They just give you some of them, which include the C43, the GLC 43, and the GLC 43 4MATIC Plus Coupe.
Oh, that's the one that I like.
Is that the one that you like? Mm-hmm. Oh, here's an E53 Coupe and Cabriolet.
There's an SL and there's also an SLC, but I do not know the difference.
Anyways, they make a lot of products, and by the numbers, if you were to put all the products on a wall and throw a dart, the odds are you're going to get a bad one. Or it's not bad, it's just forgettable.
Right.
Where most BMW M cars, which I would say is their closest competitor, it's like other German thing with like a fast line. Most of them are notable, at least. Almost every M car, except the recent ones where they just started being like, M means the most expensive one, and so go for it. Most of them are notable, and so most of them are decent. Mercedes, not so much. And that doesn't mean they don't have a cult following. It doesn't mean they don't have large enthusiast followings, but like those cars just, they aren't, for the most part, they aren't that reliable. They're fast, but they're never great to drive. It's always like some part of the dynamics isn't there. The resale value has got to be among the worst in the industry.
Yeah.
Just like,
It's like famous.
it's like famously bad. And so they just don't get a lot of love outside of the F1 team or whatever. So,
Although I do have to say that AMG GT is supposed to be like incredible.
that one's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
Except it's so expensive
Right.
that, it's kind of not common to know about it. But I do hear that one is good to drive.
Yeah.
It looks I've seen a few of them. They look awesome. They sound good.
Like that's a car that I could almost see. Like generally, I'm not really into like high end cars, but like if I had a ton of money, I could see myself
that one.
Like, I'll get one of those.
I really like the new C class. I like all C classes, but I really like the new C class, and I like the new C. I mean, I don't even know what it's called. I think it's still called a C63, but I think they also have a C56 and a C43.
Yeah.
Do those numbers still mean displacement?
They don't mean displacement. I don't know. Do they?
I thought so.
No, because
Well, it's like, I mean, Lexus did the same thing. It's like Lexus like has like the IS 300 now,
do they?
but it's like
They broke away from displacement.
Like it used to be like the IS 350.
Yeah,
and
now
the IS like
250.
now they
200T.
mean some combination of displacement and power level, kind of.
and like market
Yeah,
position.
because I think recently the 63 stuff for AMG just meant a twin turbo V8, but it's like a 4 point something.
6.3.
Yeah, they stopped the 6.3, which was never 6.3. It was 6.2.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Round
So, anyways, I mean, let us know if there are. There are ones that are worth knowing about.
The Lexus IS 300 has a 2-liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah, there we go. It's turbo though, right? That's
Yep.
the extra liter. Let us know if there are ones that you are like a diehard fan of, but from where I'm sitting, meh.
Yeah.
Overall, on average, if you add them all up and divide, meh. On average. Okay. And finally,
Oh, this is just, a final note, but in case any of you guys want to see more about my exciting life, I'm starting a vlog series, as funny as that sounds. I think the first episode is supposed to premiere tomorrow.
Ooh.
It's going to be on drivingline.com or drivingline.
Is that tomorrow from when this posts?
Yeah, the same day.
Okay.
Monday, the same.
today,
Hopefully.
Monday, yeah, it should
depending
be-
on when you're listening to
Yeah,
this.
it should be live, so you can just search Driving Line, Mike Garrett, whatever, you'll find it.
This is not Car Bros affiliated.
It's Car Bros adjacent,
but yeah, it is.
there's some
Car Bros does not endorse this.
Yeah.
But it,
not officially.
yeah.
yeah. So the first episode, I just kind of like give my own background about how I got into cars and all the different stuff. I even mentioned the Street Racing Chronicles and stuff in there. So I think the plan is to have like 2 per month, roughly. So
Wow.
give it a look.
Sweet.
Does this episode include the Fierri bit that we recorded?
No, that's going to be in a few days.
That's coming up.
Yeah. When
Teaser.
the day when John and I broke the Fierris, trunk,
Yeah.
hood, whatever you want to call it. I filmed like kind of a detailed tour, and like we did a little test drive segment. I think it actually shows some stuff that even you guys probably haven't seen on the
Probably
car.
not. Yeah.
You
Sweet.
just kind of get, it's kind of like like a first person tour of the car. So
So
I remember just when you were filming your outro is when I discovered the hatch was locked.
That's right,
And so
that's
you're like
right.
mid outro, I was like, bro, we got a problem. Like, we
I
got
took,
an issue.
I took a lot of cues from Blaze
Yeah.
yeah,
and how to vlog. So yep, check
Sweet.
it out if you're interested.
check it out.
All right.
So thank you for being here. Hopefully we'll do more of these in person, but at this point, no promises.
Yes.
There's probably not any reason not to, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It all comes down to like scheduling and
although it is-
convenience.
even aside from the virus thing, it is a little easier just to do it from home. But
Yeah, except now I'm pushing a fucking Lexus.
that's true,
Yeah,
bro.
It's gonna be sucking up this.
So
Listening to the Mark Levinson DVD.
yeah, the satellite radio circa
Have his
2005.
best CD and the
Yeah.
12 CD changer.
Yeah, as the 6 CD changer chokes on itself. Yeah. That thing, just one real quick. That thing, I thought it had like almost no options, which you want.
Yeah.
Any kind of older luxury car,
You're
you
like, no.
basically want the least options possible.
Yeah.
Because the options are usually so dumb.
They're gonna break.
Outdated. Yeah.
And so the two options that this thing, it only has one of them, but the two that I did not want is the rear DVD entertainment system, which it does have.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah. Although in my mind, I was like, maybe someday I could be sleeping in the back of this thing.
Is there
Watching a DVD.
you could watch a movie on the main display when the car's not moving? Is that the whole feature?
No, it's like-
No,
it's
it's
like
a
a-
drop
Oh, it's actually- oh, for the back seat?
screen.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a $2,500 option,
Jeez.
and it came with Bluetooth headphones, Lexus Bluetooth headphones, which I
Excellent.
have. Yeah.
Which the batteries are probably dead on.
Yeah, so I didn't want that because it's like, especially shit in the roof. It's like,
Do you even own any DVDs?
No, I don't. I may have to borrow a Bug's Life or something and wear the things. The other one that it doesn't have, thankfully, but it came with was infrared night vision.
I like
It'll
that.
do
I
a
remember the commercials for
right.
this.
It'll
Yes.
do a heads-up display. And it will project a little
Image,
infrared
yeah.
image,
You can see
near infrared, and then on the front it has two near infrared floodlights, basically that are like headlights,
Like
but
high beams
they
or something?
project. Yeah, the wavelength that they project is near infrared.
Yeah.
and then there's a camera also, and then it will project that image, which is cool because you can see people and like a deer.
I was gonna say, I think in the commercial it shows a deer and the guy's swerving.
And it's like, and I've almost hit deer before. It sucks. You don't see them. But on a 15-year-old car, not exactly something you want. Some low resolution screen, and some camera system that you're hoping doesn't break. And so it doesn't have either of those things. But DVDs, hell yeah!
There you
Can't
go.
wait to park and watch.
does the audio only come through the Bluetooth
First
headphones?
Matrix. No, that's just an option.
Okay, it can
That's
come
an
through the
option.
main stereo.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can mix and match
All right.
audio source. Very
That's good.
It's very advanced.
Get that surround sound action.
Yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for being here. We love all of our fans.
There's a chance that Fierri will be on Bring a Trailer sometime.
Oh yeah,
Podcast.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah,
we'll let you know.
I'll post it on Instagram or something.
Yeah, you'll
Facebook.
see it. Don't worry. It won't slip away.
And all of our 300 followers on Instagram or something.
Yeah, you can come kick the tires. You can come drive it hard. 10 acres. Yeah.
put it through its paces.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
See you.